Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we're going to look at the Rune Optimizer, the Summoner's War Optimizer. I'm going to do a quick introduction to it and kind of walk you through using the Optimizer section of this. There's a lot of different sections in this software. They're all very useful. I'm going to dig around and learn them all, and we're probably going to do videos on a lot of different parts of it. A couple of tabs to be familiar with really quickly are the Rune tab. This is where you can search through your runes, filter through your runes by every single detail of runes that you can think of. It's a great way to go in and get a general idea of good candidates for reappraisal stones, good candidates for gems and grinds. It's just a way to kind of zoom out a little bit and look at your runes from a different angle and evaluate what needs to be done. It's a very useful tab. We'll do a video on this later, okay? This is the same thing, but for artifacts. Very, very helpful. I like this tab. This is interesting because it gives you an idea of what your account is looking like. You can see how many runes of each set you've got. You can see how many runes of each slot you've got, and your set efficiency. You can see which sets that you have are the most efficient. Keep in mind, it does not change the numbers based on the amount of runes. So like I think I've only got one enhanced rune, and it is 79.76 efficiency. So it looks like it's my most efficient set, but I don't have a lot of them, right? Fatal, I've got a decent amount of. Fatal is actually my most efficient set, Fatal and Guard. So I really like these three tabs, and it can give you an idea of, again, kind of a zoom out. So you can look at this and go like, I can say my Rage, Vampire, Nemesis are all low. I probably need to spend more time in Necro, right? Now, I do have a lot of Will, but Will is a lot easier to keep, right? These are a little bit more specific, so it's harder to keep them, but it gives me an idea. Like if I won't Rage on my Lucian, I won't Rage on my Bale, I won't Rage on several different units that I have. I know I need to spend more time in Necro because my Necro sets are low, okay? So it's cool information that you can get from this tab. This is your monsters tab. You can take a look at your monsters, what their stats are, what their runes, and their average efficiency. Again, very useful stuff in here. The software is really, really cool. There's a priority list. I don't really know how to use this yet. So if anyone knows how to use this, I haven't really messed around with it a ton. I added a couple of monsters to the list to see what would happen. But if anyone is familiar with this tab and wants to let me know in the comments or reach out to me on Discord and fill me in, I'm very interested in this because I've been thinking for a while about trying to come up with something that people can use to kind of set up, like prioritize what they're doing and make it a little bit easier to organize and progress. And this might be that thing, but again, I haven't messed around with it enough to really know what it is. So if you're familiar with this tab and you use it and you've gotten something out of it and want to share that with me, I would appreciate it. Here's where you can speed tune your teams. So like your arena offenses, if you're running a cleave especially, you can plug your monsters in here and set it up so that you don't get cut by the enemy team, because that's going to be a bigger and bigger problem as you climb, especially, so you really want to avoid that. You can also use it to set up, you know, your dungeon teams and everything. It's a really useful tab as well. And I think that's pretty much a glimpse at the tabs, aside from the Optimizer tab, which is what we're going to play around with a little bit today. And again, this is just a quick introductory video for you getting used to using this. So when you load this up the first time, it's going to bring you here. Now, you're going to need your JSON file to use this software. If you don't know what that means, or you don't know how to do that, I'm going to card to a video up in the corner where I walk you through step by step on getting your JSON file so that you have it, and then you're going to import it into this software. Okay, so you're going to go pick a file. Your JSON file is going to be in your Summoner's War exporter files. You're going to pick whichever one you want to use. You're going to hit open. It's going to load it up in here, and then you're going to say import it, and it's going to bring all the data in, and then you're going to have all of your monsters and runes and everything available to you. Okay, so if you don't know how to get your JSON file, again, check out that video and then come back here and follow along. So let's say, let's think about like who I might want to play around with in here. Let's say maybe I wanted to, build, who do we want to build for fun, theoretically, for the video? Let's say Camilla. or maybe someone more straightforward than that. Let's just put our Tiana in here. Actually, let's put Tiana in here. Let me find her, and we'll just see how fast we could possibly get someone in our account currently. Okay, so I know I'm going to want her in Swift, so I'm going to go ahead and set Swift as set 1. Again, you can put sets 2 and 3. So if you wanted to go with 3 different 2 sets, I don't care. Swift will in a perfect world, but for now, we're just going to say I want her to be as fast as she can possibly be. That's my only concern. Slot 2, we know we're going to want speed. Slot 4 and 6, I'm going to leave open because the only thing I'm going to let myself be concerned with is her speed. Let's come down to filters. Minimum and maximum, I don't really care about for this instance, but let's say I was doing Verd, right? Let's say I was trying to get my Verd in a maximum damage build. He has to have 100 crit rate if you're using him in Trikaru, right? So I'd come in here to minimum and I go 100 crit rate minimum, and then it wouldn't show me builds that had less than 100 crit rate. So you'll use it for certain things like that. In this instance, we don't have any minimums or maximums, and the only thing we care about is speed, and it is the most important thing. So over here is your focuses, and this is where you can set up to 5 stats that are important to you, and the more stats you add, you get these little sliders, and you can set the priority, which stat is more important to you, so you can kind of set the tier so that it knows what to focus, right? So if I wanted a lot of speed and then HP was pretty important to me, I could drag HP up a bit. And then I wanted some defense, but it's not quite as important, I can leave the slider a little low and it'll prioritize the stats in that order. But for what we're doing here, we just care about speed, right? I just want to see what's the fastest I can possibly make my Tiana. So also you can come up here and look through these. We can use locked runes, use only runes from inventory. I'm going to uncheck that. I want it to use runes from everywhere in my account. And other than that, I don't think I have any locked runes. In case I do, I'm going to go ahead and tick it. And let's go ahead and say max. No, let's not worry about that. Display values with arena towers. No, let's don't do that. I want to see what her speed's actually going to be before the battle starts. So that's it. We've got our focus set to speed and it's maxed out. We know we're going speed slot 2. We know she's on a Swift set. So now I'm going to do this and we're going to find out what's the fastest I can make her right now, pre-grind and enchant and all that stuff. But just what do we have right now that's the fastest set? So now down here, we've got all the different builds that it's spit out for us. And we've got all these different columns, so we could come in and sort by different things. In this case, we know we want to sort by speed. So currently, the fastest I can possibly make her is 262 speed. And there's 3 different ways I can make that happen, apparently. So let's say, fine, I'm good to go. And you can also change it to plus 12 and plus 15. So actually, let's go ahead and say plus 15. And just see if that helps us at all. Nope, still 262. So now what we can do is come over here. If we hover over, we can get a quick glimpse at the runes that it wants to put. So let's say I wasn't willing to take a rune off my Shan, and I didn't bother to go in and lock it prior. And I just wanted to see what was possible, but I know I don't want to use it. I can see that this is on Shan, so I'm not even going to bother clicking it. What's probably going to happen is that slot 1 is going to be on every it's going to be on many of the builds. So let me make sure I remember how to do this. We can come in here and let's go and lock this rune. I think that's how we do that. And try it again. I want to see if it locked it on her or if it locked it on him. And we'll figure this all out together. Let's say don't use locked runes. Try it again. Okay, so now you see it's showing us builds. So it locked it on Sean. So that's a way you can do it. You can click it and load it up. If you don't want it to use that rune, you can lock it and then come back and hit optimize again. Now it's using a different slot 1 rune on all of our builds. It wants to pull the Violent rune off of Oki for this one. This one is 261 and it's a Swift rune from our inventory. We'd have to pull a rune off of Bernard, Chiwu, and Ralk, right? So we can say, okay, maybe we're willing to do that. So now we can click it, load it up. We can see the details on all of the runes, where they're located, and then just go into the game, find those runes, put them on our Tiana, and we're done. And then if we decide we like the build and we're going to do exactly what it says, we can say equip runes and artifacts, and the software will make that change for you so that you don't have to go grab a new JSON file, right? You can, if you're using the software actively in the moment, you can make these changes here as you make them in the game so that you don't have to keep grabbing a new file every time you make updates, right? Now, if you've done a bunch of rune farming or you do a bunch of moving around in your account, it's probably easier to just get the new JSON file and bring it over, because it is quick and easy to do. It's a couple of clicks, but it can also be kind of tedious to do it and import it, 8 or 9 times throughout the process if you're going through and making changes in your account. So you can do this here. You can also go in and edit your runes from here, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember how to do it, but it can be, up here. I think if you select a rune, if you select a rune up here, you can come up here and make changes to it. So if you level up if a rune's at +9 and you take it to 12, you can come in here and add the new substat and then, save current. So you can make these changes as you go along. So that's a quick introduction. Again, I'm not trying to keep you here too long. You'll have to come in here and play around with this yourself. You'll learn things as you go through and do it. I've got a lot to catch up on too. I haven't used this for, 2016, 2017 is the last time I was playing this game heavily enough to be using this. So it's been a long time for me as well. As I get really deeply familiar with it, maybe we'll do a more extended guide on it. But I told you guys that we would have a video soon to introduce you to it and kind of walk you through a quick step-by-step on how to use this. That's it. Otherwise, I recommend just jumping and play around with it and get familiar with it. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up here. As always, if anybody uses this software a lot and has any tips for using it to get good builds or anything like that you want to drop in the comments, that would be dope. Again, one last time for this priority list tab, if anybody is familiar with how this works, I would appreciate it if you wanted to share it with me. I would like to make a video on it if it's interesting and helpful. So if you know how this works, holler at me. Other than that, I'm getting out of here. I appreciate you guys. I hope it was helpful, and we'll see you later.